Hello, I am Simulator Deck, and welcome to Simulator Deck London Bus Simulator, otherwise known as the London add-on for OMSI 2. We are at Crystal Palace Bus Station, and what's this? A Transport for London destination board on the front of a double-decker? That's pretty cool. I do have to say that is pretty cool. Now, we have been experiencing some issues with this OMSI 2 map, and as I have mentioned before, it's an old engine, so to speak, with a new body. That's actually a really good way of putting it. Like, you've got a brilliant brand new bus, but you've got a really old engine that's blowing a lot of smoke, like that for some reason. So what I've been doing, I was experimenting just to make sure that it wasn't just me when I was driving. So we've got the AI driving, which I think for me is actually a quite better experience at the moment. We're on the number 3 bus heading towards Oxford Circus, and I think that me just doing some commentary while I'm not driving the bus, while letting someone else drive the bus and using better camera angles, is something that I can get on board with, so to speak. It actually makes me wonder how many people who use OMSI actually drive the buses themselves in their YouTube videos. It just makes me wonder. So this video was actually recorded quite some time ago, not too long after the OMSI map was actually introduced for London, and I have noticed that the glitches are reducing. They're not gone, but they're reducing. Sometimes the collisions, doesn't seem to matter if I have collisions turned on or turned off. That doesn't seem to matter. The bus just drives wherever they want to anyway. Doesn't matter if it's through cars, through buildings, or anything like that. And sometimes the buildings just randomly appear. And I thought one way that I thought, well, maybe the building problem might disappear is if I let the AI drive the bus, because unlike me, at least the AI knows where it's going. As I've mentioned before, I could run other programs that are very, very intense when it comes to graphics. Things like Grand Theft Auto 5, GTA 5, and Wreckfest are two examples of that, where they could run, where it could run quite well. So I thought, well, maybe it's OMSI, and there have been. Okay, here's a classic example of doesn't seem to matter if collisions are on or off. This bus is just driving wherever it wants. It's just clipping cars like the cars aren't even there. So it's not as if I'm running a potato. If I can manage to play something like GTA, and there's a good way of getting to a bus stop, just drive through a car like it's not even there. That works.
Morning, driver.
Good morning, driver. How you doing? All right.
Church approach.
So what I wanted to do, of course, was to drive London buses, and I've got the best of both worlds at the moment, because I can. Like, to you at the moment, it just looks like I'm driving this bus. I'm honestly not. And I can also talk to you if need be, as well at the same time, and talk about what's going on and stuff like that. Maybe share some bus stories as well, because I've certainly got
South Croxted Road.
I've certainly got some bus stories as well. Then I decided, after Microsoft Bus Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, I wanted to play that. And then I had a look at the specs of when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, and I thought, I might not be able to do as good as I thought. You know, my computer at the time when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, and when this London map came out for OMSI 2, I meet the specs for OMSI 2 most definitely. But when it came down to Microsoft Flight Simulator, maybe not so much. I might have met the minimum, but that's maybe about it. And of course, I do have to take into account the fact that I am actually recording. As well. Recording these episodes. So not only do I need to be able to run the game fine, but I need to be able to record what I'm recording, and also the software that runs the graphics and all that sort of stuff. I need to be able to do all that at the same time, and if I'm struggling to run, OMSI, and if I'm barely meeting the requirements for Microsoft Flight Simulator, well, I don't think it's going to be a good time for anybody. So I'm running a i5 processor, a NVIDIA graphics card, and at the time 8 gig of RAM. I've now, and sometimes too, I do get problems with multitasking and Windows and that sort of stuff, which could sometimes explain sometimes the sound drops in and out. But having said all that, I decided, and apart from that, I was also running out of hard drive space, which wouldn't help. So I decided, while I was on holidays from my place of employment, I would go out and I would get some hard drive space. So I got a guy to come over and put a hard drive in for me, and while he had it open, we had a talk, and I says, well, is there any room for any more graphics? And I had a mate tell me that it was basically a good idea to start saving up for a new computer, because I don't have a lot of upgradability with the computer that I've got at the moment, which is about 4 years old. So I thought I'd do that. But in the meantime, I got a second opinion, and it looks like I'm driving on the footpath here. Oh, straight through the traffic light poles. That's awesome. Oh wow. What can I say about that? So while the guy had the computer open and working out to put the hard drive in and that sort of thing, and knowing what I needed to use it for, he says, well, you've got a couple of slots in there. You can put some more RAM in. So what I've done now, there's now 16 gigs of RAM, which certainly meets the requirements of OMSI and definitely meets the requirements for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And from the very moment that I connected the computer back up and turned everything on, it was all good. And I noticed, and I should want to hope so, considering I basically doubled the internal memory and got a whole heap of hard drive space, and was using the right hard drive for the situation. Because I'm very good at using a computer. I'm in a lot of instances self-taught in relation to gaming, video production, and all that sort of stuff. Are they still building Crossrail next to us? Governor, are they still building Crossrail? So I'm very good at being a user of a computer. I'm not as good with the mechanics of it and all of that sort of stuff, and opening the computer and putting new stuff in. So I always get professionals to do that sort of thing for me. And as soon as I turned on the computer, it was like boom, like having a new computer with double the memory, and it was really good. So I went out and I went and downloaded Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now you could go to the Steam.
Hello, driver.
Hello. You can go to the Steam store and you can purchase OMSI and the London add-on map like I've done, and you could probably
Croxted close.
And you could probably be up and running in about maybe an hour at the absolute max. But it doesn't take that long really to download the base, download the new map, install it, and then run it. Microsoft Flight Simulator, on the other hand, oh boy, like you download the basic package from Steam, and then it says, let's say hypothetically for the sake of the story, it takes an hour. Okay, sweet, it takes an hour. And then you open it for the first time, and it's like, hey boy, you're not finished yet. You've got all this massive, you've only downloaded the very basic options so far. There's a lot to download, and it just happened to be a week where there was a major world upgrade. So it took me, and I read stories on forums and seen videos, etc., where they basically say if you want to buy Microsoft Flight Simulator, you buy it from wherever you buy it from, and then just basically leave the computer to its own devices overnight, and then by the time you wake up, you should be good. You should be right to go. So I tried taking that advice, and it was 14 hours of game time. 14 hours of game time because, and this is another thing about it, let's say if you get OMSI and you don't like the game crashes and all of that sort of stuff, you don't like the glitches, you're not happy with how it runs on the system, if you basically put in a dispute with Steam and say, hey look,
Brockwell Park,
this game's not fit for purpose, I've tried it, it's not working, it's not working well on my system, I'm not running a potato, can I have my money back please? And generally, if you've played under 2 hours and a certain number of days, I think it's 2 weeks, you can usually get your money back. But while Microsoft Flight Simulator is active to get all the fresh downloads for the start of the system and before your first flight, they count all that, because the game's open, they count all of that as game time. So I had something like 14 hours of game time up on Microsoft Flight Simulator just downloading the thing, and that was before my first flight. And that wasn't including, there was a couple of times I got up during the night and I thought, I'll go and check and see how the download's going. Microsoft Flight Simulator had crashed, so I'd have to reopen it and start the download again. And I haven't, yes, I'm in an apartment.
Rockwell Lido.
Yeah, I'm in an apartment. I don't have an exclusive connection, and I'm running broadband and all that sort of stuff, but normally I can download things a lot quicker than what I did on this occasion. Got Microsoft Flight Simulator running. There's a couple of episodes and probably more episodes by the time you're watching this on SimulatorDirtGaming.com and SimulatorDirt on YouTube, and you can see how well Microsoft Flight Simulator runs. and I'm really looking forward to more episodes. So far, I've managed to go to flight school, have a couple of crashes, take off, land, have a couple more crashes, but I'm doing okay on my first day, basically. But where this leaves me with OMSI, it will be interesting to see. I've got a whole heap of episodes that I recorded, and I'm doing a voiceover like I am now, and then I'll edit and then I'll release the episodes. And sometimes what I was doing,
Chaucer Road, Ephra Parade.
like for instance, I was going to my place of employment. Before I went to my place of employment, I'd turn OMSI on and I'd turn my recording software on, OBS Studio, and I'd get the AI buses up and running like we're doing now, and we'd just say, hey, drive. So it was driving and recording, and again the audio's dropped out, but it'll be back in a minute. And I know there's one file ahead of me that I haven't got to yet, where there's something like 7-8 hours of recording, and then the next day I had a longer shift and I recorded for a bit longer. And actually what I should do, I should pull that up now as
Brixton Water Lane.
I'm talking to you out of my to edit folder on my computer. And this was a good test to see how long OMSI would actually stay up for. 2 hours 45, almost 3 hours, 7 hours 20. 9 hours 43, I thought it was 14 hours. 9 hours 43, so almost 10 hours. Now, what's on?
Hello.
Oh, it's Austin Powers. Hello, Austin. Behave. You put the grr in swinger, baby. Yeah,
Morville
baby.
Road.
Grr, baby. Very grr. So part of that was to see how well it actually recorded, and I knew that basically the only things running in the background was basically OMSI was running and my recording software was running. I didn't have any internet browsers or anything open and that sort of thing, and so 7 hours 20 recording of OMSI, and then was it the next day? Yeah, it was the next day. 9 hours and 43 minutes. And there's some shorter ones there, like there's...
Hello, driver.
Top of the morning to you, love.
Oh, top of the morning to you, love. There we go. There's a good interior view of some of the passengers on the bus. Sometimes the voice doesn't match the...
St Matthew's Estate. Alight here for Route 37 towards Clapham Common, Clapham Junction, Wandsworth and Putney Heath.
Some of the voices don't match the person. Like there's a really young lady there, and I don't know how many young ladies, in the early 20s would be saying top of the morning to your driver. I don't know how many. Although then again, I shouldn't judge that because I'm in Australia rather than England. But some people talk to bus drivers, many don't. Even when you're getting off the bus. So we're just having a look at this passenger view for a moment. So don't worry, there won't be an OMSI episode of 9 hours 43 minutes and 23
Lambeth Town
seconds.
Hall.
Or 2 hours 45 minutes and 56 seconds. Or where's the other long one? 7 hours 20 minutes and 21 seconds. Don't worry. I'll be splitting episodes up. We're splitting episodes up into about an hour to 90-minute chunks, and recording the voiceover and all of that sort of stuff, and I'll be doing that. I want to do all that before I record another episode of London Bus Simulator, and then when I record an episode of London Bus Simulator with my new with my new hardware, I want to see if there's any difference. So the AI driver will be driving the bus. I'll be doing commentary, but that's about it. And then I'll want to see, and plus I think there's been a couple of map updates at the same time, so I'll want to see what that's all about. So that will be interesting to see as well. And then it'll be interesting to see, hey look, I've got this U-Butte system that's now capable of running Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know, is it me or is it OMSI? And I think I know what the answer is going to be. I certainly think I know what the answer is going to be, but that's a little bit further down the track. We have these previously recorded sequences, and I'll be doing some editing on them. So if the the door opens. Hang on, she did decide to go out. I thought she was going to move further down the bus, but she did get off the bus in the end. The lady in the yellow top. So there's going to be quite a few episodes of London Bus Simulator, as I'm calling it on Simulated Irk. And then once I record and edit those, and that could take some time.
Brixton Station. Alight here for National Rail and local bus services.
Once I do all that, I thought she was just going to walk straight through the door, even though the bus was moving and the doors were closed then for a second. So once all of these episodes are voice tracked, edited and uploaded and put onto YouTube, once all that's been done, well then I'll record some more gameplay, and there's even a couple more maps that are out that could be of the London area but aren't necessarily, that I've been having a look at as well. So I'll be interested to see what happens in that regard. Hopefully what will happen is that there'll be less glitches, and I haven't seen yet on this recording, for instance, I haven't seen any instances of buses driving through buildings and that sort of stuff, and I've usually left some of that in because some of that has been entertaining. If a bus, for instance, is sitting at a depot for half an hour, well then again I'm going to edit that. But you know, if a bus is at a terminal for 5 minutes or whatever, well that's a different story. But if a bus is sitting at the terminal or at a bus depot for half an hour, well obviously I'll cut that out, because nobody just wants to see a bus just sitting in the same place for half an hour.
Brixton Road, Brixton Police Station. Alight here for Brixton Academy.
I thought she was going to say Brixton Police Station. Alight here for Brixton Police Station. That would have been a Captain Obvious moment for sure. But so that's what's coming up on London Bus Simulator. Episodes out on Tuesdays of buses and also of trams and trucks. Train episodes come out on Thursdays, and the Flight Simulator episodes will come out on Fridays. So just to recap that, buses, trams and trucks on Tuesdays, trains on Thursdays, and planes on Fridays for Flight Friday. I swear they've got those roads closed, or that lane closed, because they're building for Crossrail, which by the way isn't still open, but that's another story altogether. So what we're going to do, and I used to do this a lot in podcasting, where when I podcasted many years ago, say if I was walking around the streets of London, or if I was indeed on a London bus, sometimes I'd talk and at the start and say, okay, this is basically where I am, this is what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd say something like, I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy the ambience. As opposed to, I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy the ambulance, which is a totally different simulator altogether. So I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy the ambience, or if you're rich and not poor like me, the ambience. And I'm just going to sit back and let you relax and enjoy some of the scenery, enjoy the sights and sounds of London Bus Simulator.
Villa Road. Loughborough Road. Grove Way.
out, lad.
Vassal Road. St Mark's Church. Alight here for Oval Station and Cricket Ground.
Hiya, driver.
Kennington Park Post Office. Windmill Row. Fitzallen Street.
Where the bloody hell have you been, you late?
Kennington Road, Imperial War Museum.
Hey!
And what time do you call this?
Pratt Walk. Lambeth Palace. Alight here for Lambeth Bridge.
Our usual driver is never this late.
Horseferry Road. Abingdon Street.
Hey, how's it going?
Horse Guards Parade. Trafalgar Square. Piccadilly Circus.
So we have arrived. Yes, we have arrived, and I know that there'll be a lot of people seeing this in London and thinking, where's all the traffic? But no, this is a this has been a very interesting, just cut through the crossrail construction, that's all good. This has been a very good exercise in seeing that, apart from the collision things, I haven't seen a bus drive through a building, for instance, that's randomly across the road. So maybe as we're coming into Oxford Circus, maybe things are looking up, and things are looking up. There will be quite a few episodes of London Bus Simulator, OMSI 2, coming down the pipes to you on Tuesdays. I've got lots to bring you, different buses, different routes, and that sort of thing. And then as I mentioned earlier, what we'll do, we will record some new episodes, maybe with some new buses on some new routes. There's some London adjacent routes that we may be able to use as well with my new hardware. Anywho, I've been Simulated Erk. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for more action across Simulated Erk. Buses, trams and trucks on Tuesdays, trains on Thursdays, and planes on Fridays.
Oxford Circus Station.
I've been Simulated Erk. We are coming into Oxford Circus. I will see you next time. Thanks for travelling. Bye bye for now. Thanks, driver.